welcome back to another painting session and happy Valentine's Day. Today I'm going to be a bit cliche, and the theme for this session is hearts and love. Because honestly, why not? We need a little bit of love and cliche in this current climate, and I figured it is a good to be a little bit on the nose about these things in today's times. And I started by doing this painting that I am calling Floating Hearts. And this particular painting set the tone for the rest of the painting session for me. So I started with a page, with a blank page that I completely wet down, made sure that the paper was evenly damp without any puddles forming here and there. Then I went for the fun part. I diluted a little bit of the deep pink from the OG color sheets, the original color sheets of Viviva, diluted it quite a bit actually, and then I made a huge splash on the page. It ended up being a little bit skewed, but I feel like it worked out in my favor. Towards the end, I really liked that there was a little bit of white space in the painting for me to keep trying more things. And then, as the colors bloomed on the wet page, I went and tweaked some of the shapes and turned it into hearts. This is where I got the inspiration to turn some of the splatters and the abstract blobs into hearts. And then I let the pink paper dry, went back in with the crimson shade with a little bit of the dusk orange and vermilion added to it to make the color a bit warmer. And then this time around, because the paper was a bit on the drier side, I was able to get crisper shapes, and I made sure that I was working on hearts. And I painted hearts across the page, all of it in different shapes and sizes, some of them quite large, some of them really tiny. And then I also added more splatters, more splashes, more dots here and there on the page to make it a little bit more colorful and also like feeling like there's a bit more depth to the painting. Then finally, after I've gone back and forth with the crimson, the deep pink, vermilion, and a dusk orange, I kind of go into my metallic colors. I take a little bit of the metallic gold and then add more gold flecks, gold hearts to the painting just for a little bit of shimmer. It's season of Valentine. It's time for some sparkle. That is this particular painting. How do you think it turned out? I am particularly pleased with it. For this next painting, I'm using the spring color sheets. I start by swatching some of the warm shades in the set and decide on using the color Cherry Blossom. This is like a very neutral pink. It is not too warm, not too cold. And I to start with this particular shade. I also covered a small part of the center of this page with a bit of washi tape so that when I'm done with the painting, there is a little bit of space to write a message or a name of some sort. And then I began painting little hearts one after another from the top left all the way down to the page, making sure that the hearts interact with each other, particularly the ones next to each other. And I kept changing the colors every time I painted a heart. I would tweak some of the shades by adding a little bit of ocean blue or a little bit of happy yellow every single time. This made sure that the colors were either a bit on the bluer side. That's where you see some purples and some darker grays also, because sometimes the ocean blue was a bit too much. And then on the other times when the yellow was a little on the higher side, it became more of warmer oranges and um, even like reds at some places. So this way, each heart had a unique shade and character. And because these are the color sheets and the pigments of the color sheets are made to be super fast drying, they were incredibly easy to work with for me for this particular painting, because by the time I had finished the first row, the left hand side of the page would be dry. So when I went for this next row underneath the initial row of hearts, there would not be too much bleeding between rows. The hearts started looking defined per row, and I think it gives an interesting character to this particular painting. Now, as I move towards the center of the page, I wanted to add a little bit of shimmer, but in hindsight, I should have added a lot more shimmer. What I did was add a mix of the cherry blossom and metallic pink from the same palette, or cherry blossom with a little bit of the blues for a more purple tone, but the metallic blues, I mean. But instead of diluting the metallics with another color, I think I should have just gone with the metallics. That would have made the center pop out a lot more. Now there is a bit of shimmer in the right light. However, it's not as vibrant and sparkly as I wanted it to be, as I intended it to be when I was actually doing this and envisioning this page. And yeah, with that, once I'm finished painting the entire page, I carefully peel off the washi tape in the middle and write a message. For this particular painting, I just wrote the word love in cursive. But if you were doing this and if you wish to gift this to someone, you can personalize it by writing their name, or you can even make the space a little bit bigger, plan for it ahead of time, and have enough space to write a short message for your loved ones. And you know, the best part is this took me less than 15 minutes to create. I really love how vibrant and colorful this page turned out. It's so beautiful. There's so much going on, but it still feels very cohesive and beautiful. I simply love it. For this next painting, I used small pieces of washi tape to create an outline of a heart. It's not a perfect heart, but it's a little wonky. And I kind of love that. Love itself isn't perfect, and I think this heart reflects that beautifully. Just like in the first painting, I started by evenly wetting the blank page and splashing some of my favorite shades. I started with the original color sheets again this time, focusing on the deep pink. Um, and to add a little bit of pizzazz to this particular painting, I added a couple of more shades, one being the peacock blue, heavily diluted, so it looks a little bit more like a sky blue on the page. And I also added a hint of the purple, the violet from the original color sheets. Now, instead of painting hearts this time, we already have the heart mapped out. For the rest of the page, I am going to be painting flowers. And with the splattered paint across the page, I thought every little blob was a chance of painting a flower. Was a chance of painting a flower. Now, I was when I was doing this painting, I was thinking about this as if each blob was a hidden flower, and I was encouraging them to bloom with my brush. And however wonky they turned out, however um, imperfect they looked, at the end, they are still things that I created with my, I don't know, I guess superpower. And I kind of really liked the way that I was thinking and my mindset during this painting. It was the very first time that I felt playful. After a long time, I felt like my art was feeling a bit on the playful side with this particular painting. And yeah, the pink blobs turned into roses, and I painted them with short, curved strokes in a circular motion, um, making sure that the center of the blob was more darker and the edges eventually faded out a little bit more naturally. And this indicated that the center was more densely packed, and then the rest of the flower was in bloom and was a little bit more in light. And for the blue ones, I think I envisioned them as hydrangeas, which is one of my favorite flowers. And they're also super easy to paint. All you need to do is make sure you have a blob of paint, which we already do, and let it dry. Then go in with a darker color of the same shade. If you have blue on the page already, then go in with a darker version of the blue and tap your brush in a spiral pattern. Like uh, draw circles over and over again, starting from the center of the blob and expanding to the outer edges of the blob. And naturally, you will find that the center of the blob is a bit more darker. And then as you go towards the end of the blob, your paint will get a little lighter. And that also adds to a nice effect to the flowers. It gives an illusion of soft petals that are opening up. It gives an illusion of soft petals that are opening up. I really loved the way that this particular painting turned out. Then finally, at the end, I filled in all the empty spaces with leaves, a mix of green shades. It was not one particular shade. I went back and forth with a few different colors. yeah, that's it. This particular painting took a little longer. It was 45 minutes. Honestly, the 15 minutes was just the setup, and the actual painting itself was not too long. It is just that sketching out the heart was a bit of a problem. If you already have a heart stencil, you might be having an easier time with this than I did. Um, in the end, I think I loved the result so much that I actually gave it a second try. Here's some of the pictures from my second try, and I did it in a hand drawn way the second time, made sure that the heart was a bit more sketchy, and I think it turned out even cuter. So that's it, guys. Those are my three ideas for you guys. And if you paint along, let me know. If you try out these paintings and you want to share it with me, I would love to see them. Do send it to us on Instagram and tag it at Viviva Colors. I am happy to take a look at anything that you guys have created. I will be most honored to see them. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Happy painting. Bye bye.